What if the fruit you eat before bed could either fit comfortably into a kidney-friendly diet or quietly work against it? Most people think protecting their kidneys simply means drinking more water and avoiding salt. Those things matter, but there is another question worth asking. What are you reaching for when nighttime cravings hit? Tonight, I want to show you one surprisingly simple fruit that deserves a place on your evening menu. Imagine a 66-year-old woman named Margaret. She feels perfectly healthy, takes her blood pressure medicine, walks most mornings, and rarely misses a doctor's appointment. But every night around 9:30, she reaches for cookies, salty crackers, or a large bowl of dessert. She never thinks about her kidneys because nothing hurts. Then one routine blood test shows her kidney function isn't quite where it used to be. As a physician who works with older adults, I would never tell someone that one fruit can repair damaged kidneys. That isn't how nutrition works. But I would pay very close attention to the foods replacing salty snacks, sugary desserts, and heavily processed evening meals. Your kidneys are affected by the health of your blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and overall diet. And sometimes one small food swap can become part of a much bigger protective routine. Your kidneys are working around the clock to filter waste and regulate fluid and minerals. But kidney health isn't just about what happens inside the kidneys themselves. Blood pressure, diabetes, sodium intake, and metabolic health all influence the workload placed on them. That's why a kidney-friendly food isn't necessarily a magical kidney cleanser. The better question is, does this food fit into a pattern that supports healthy blood pressure, reasonable sugar intake, and appropriate mineral balance? And here's something important before we go any further. If your kidneys are healthy, you don't need to become frightened of fruit. Whole fruit can absolutely be part of a healthy diet. But if you have chronic kidney disease, especially with abnormal potassium levels, your situation is different. Your ideal fruit choices and portion sizes may depend on your blood tests, medications, and stage of kidney disease. What works beautifully for one person may not be right for another. My practical bedtime pick for many people is the humble pear. Not because pears have some secret ingredient that detoxes your kidneys. They don't. The reason I like pears is much simpler. They can be a satisfying whole food replacement for highly processed nighttime snacks, while providing fiber and relatively modest potassium compared with many higher potassium fruits. And that distinction becomes especially important when kidney function is reduced. Think about what usually happens at 9 or 10 at night. You're tired. You don't want to cook. So you grab chips, cookies, ice cream, or something packaged. The problem isn't that one snack instantly damages your kidneys. It's the pattern. High-sodium foods can contribute to fluid retention and blood pressure problems, while excessive added sugar can make blood sugar control harder. A small whole pear changes the direction of that decision. There's another reason pears are interesting: fiber. Fiber doesn't act like a scrub brush inside your kidneys, despite what some online videos claim. Instead, fiber supports a healthier overall eating pattern and can help make a simple snack more filling. That matters because constantly replacing real food with ultra-processed snacks can make it harder to manage weight, blood sugar, and cardiovascular health, the same areas that strongly influence kidney health. And here's the detail most people miss. The timing isn't magic. Your kidneys don't suddenly switch into a special fruit mode at 9 p.m. There is no scientifically established bedtime hour when pears become a kidney treatment. The real advantage is behavioral. If eating a modest portion of whole fruit before bed helps you stop reaching for salty chips, sugary desserts, or heavily processed snacks, that substitution may be far more meaningful than the clock itself. For a generally healthy adult, think small and simple rather than turning your evening snack into another meal. One small pear or part of a larger pear can be enough. Eat it whole rather than turning it into juice. Whole fruit gives you the fruit's natural fiber and tends to be more filling. And if you're watching your blood sugar, portion size still matters because natural sugar is still carbohydrate. Now let's move to another underrated choice: peaches. A fresh peach can provide sweetness without requiring you to reach for candy or dessert. Peaches are also listed among lower potassium fruit choices in kidney diet guidance. That doesn't make them universally safe for every person with kidney disease, but it does make them an interesting option to discuss with your healthcare professional if potassium is something you're monitoring. The hidden advantage isn't that a peach somehow enters your kidneys and repairs them. It's that it can make healthy eating easier to sustain. Imagine replacing a large bowl of ice cream with one fresh peach. You're not performing a miracle. You're simply removing a lot of added sugar and excess calories from the equation while still giving yourself something naturally sweet. Long-term consistency is much more powerful than a superfood claim. Third on my list is the plum. Plums are another fruit that can fit into a lower potassium eating pattern for many people. They're naturally sweet, portion-friendly, and easy to eat without preparation. But there's a catch. Dried plums, or prunes, are a completely different situation from fresh plums when you're managing portions and minerals. Concentrated dried fruit can pack much more carbohydrate and potassium into a small volume. This is where many healthy foods become misleading. Someone hears that a fruit is kidney-friendly and assumes more must be better. It isn't. A large bowl of fruit can still provide a substantial amount of carbohydrate and potassium. Your kidneys don't give you extra credit for eating 5 servings because the food came from nature. Portion size matters, especially when kidney function is impaired. Healthy food still needs to fit your personal nutritional targets. Fourth is papaya, another fruit that can be relatively lower in potassium per serving. Its soft texture makes it easy to eat, and it can be a satisfying alternative to processed desserts. But I want you to notice the pattern here. I'm not telling you papaya is a kidney medicine. I'm showing you how to think. Choose whole foods, watch portions, reduce highly processed snacks, and make your evening routine support the health goals your doctor has already given you. And then there's watermelon, which surprises people because it feels like the ultimate summer indulgence. In appropriate portions, watermelon is also listed among lower potassium fruit options. But low potassium doesn't mean unlimited. Watermelon is mostly water and contains natural sugar, so a huge bowl can become a very different nutritional decision from a modest serving. And if you've been told to restrict fluids because of advanced kidney disease, even water-rich foods may need special consideration. Now let me tell you what I think is more important than choosing between a pear, peach, plum, papaya, or watermelon. Don't let a healthy fruit become an excuse to ignore the rest of your evening. A pear followed by salty chips isn't suddenly a kidney-protective dinner. A peach followed by sugary soda doesn't cancel out the soda. Kidney health is built from the whole pattern: sodium, blood pressure, blood sugar, body weight, medications, activity, and your overall diet. This is especially important for people over 60. Excess sodium can make your body retain more fluid, which can contribute to swelling and put additional stress on blood pressure. And high blood pressure is one of the major conditions linked with kidney disease. So when you choose fruit before bed, think about what you're replacing. The victory isn't really the pear. The victory is what you didn't eat instead. The same idea applies to blood sugar. If you have diabetes or insulin resistance, constantly ending the night with cookies, cake, candy, or sweet drinks may make blood sugar management harder. A modest portion of whole fruit can be a very different choice from a highly processed dessert. But don't misunderstand me. Fruit isn't carbohydrate-free. If you monitor glucose, your portion and your overall meal plan still matter. Now I need to make one distinction extremely clear. If you've already been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, don't copy a fruit list from YouTube and assume every item is safe for you. Potassium can become too high when kidney function is reduced, and some medications can also affect potassium. Your doctor or renal dietitian can use your blood tests and medications to determine what belongs on your personal list. So here's what I want you to think about tonight. When you get hungry shortly before bed, what do you usually reach for? Is it fruit? Or is it something salty, packaged, sugary, or highly processed? And if you've already been diagnosed with kidney disease, do you actually know your latest potassium level? Tell me in the comments. Fruit if you're already choosing whole fruit at night, or change if your evening snack needs an upgrade. Before changing your diet, ask your doctor 3 simple questions. First, what is my latest eGFR? Second, is my potassium level normal for me? Third, do any of my medications change the foods I should eat? Those 3 questions can completely change what a kidney-friendly snack looks like. And if you have CKD, ask whether a renal dietitian can help personalize your food plan. If you've never been told to restrict potassium or fluids, keep tonight simple. Instead of opening a bag of chips or reaching for a large dessert, choose a modest serving of whole fruit. A small pear is one option. A peach, plum, papaya, or modest portion of watermelon can be alternatives. Eat slowly, don't turn it into a giant bowl, and notice how much easier it feels to end the night without processed snacks. And here's the encouraging part. You don't need a perfect diet to start protecting your future health. You need repeatable decisions. One lower sodium dinner, one walk after dinner, one better snack, better blood pressure control, better blood sugar control, regular kidney testing when you're at risk. These actions may look almost boring compared with dramatic internet kidney detox claims, but boring habits are often the ones you can actually maintain for years. Think back to Margaret. She didn't suddenly transform her entire life. She started by changing what happened after dinner. Instead of salty crackers and oversized desserts every night, she began choosing a modest portion of whole fruit on many evenings. She also became more consistent with her walking routine and started paying closer attention to her blood pressure. The fruit wasn't a cure. It became one small piece of a healthier routine she could actually repeat. Remember this sentence because it may be more useful than any miracle fruit claim you hear online. Your kidneys don't need a miracle food. They need fewer things working against them. The right fruit can help you make that choice easier, but the real protection comes from the pattern you repeat day after day, year after year. So let's make this simple. For many people, a modest serving of pear can be a sensible bedtime snack. Peaches, plums, papaya, and watermelon are other lower potassium options that may fit depending on your individual needs. But the bigger lesson is to replace heavily processed, salty, sugary nighttime foods with whole foods, while keeping portions reasonable and paying attention to your blood pressure, blood sugar, potassium, and kidney function. If you know someone over 60 who keeps saying, "My kidneys are fine because they don't hurt," send them this video. Early kidney disease can be silent, which is exactly why routine testing matters for people at risk. And if you want more straightforward senior health videos that explain what your lab numbers, medications, and everyday food choices actually mean, subscribe to the channel. Then comment kidneys so I know you're watching. One final reminder. This video is educational and is not a diagnosis or personal treatment plan. There is no single fruit that can repair chronic kidney disease, and the best choice depends on your health, kidney function, potassium level, medications, diabetes status, and fluid needs. If you have kidney disease, dialysis, abnormal potassium, or a fluid restriction, speak with your doctor or renal dietitian before changing your diet. Your lab results, not an internet list, should guide your personal plan.